I've grown up in this area, my kids have grown up in this area. Everything I've done to volunteer, I'm looking to better the community for those that come in behind me. And so I do it for my family, I do it for the ratepayers, the taxpayers that live in this community. I want to give them someone they can trust to make sure that they have the best value, the best service, at the best cost. And that's something that I would absolutely dedicate the next 4 years to do in delivering to our community.
I'm Kelly Earnby at Brentwood Park in Costa Mesa. We're here to interview a local candidate, Brett Eckles, who's running and going to be on your ballot. Hi, Brett. How are you?
I'm great. How are you, Kelly?
Good to see you.
You as well.
What are you running for?
So this November, I'm running for a seat on the Costa Mesa Sanitary District, Division 2. Division 2 incorporates northeast side Costa Mesa, basically 22nd Street and where we are today. And then it wraps around all the way to South Coast Plaza in that area, and that would be Division 2 for the Costa Mesa Sanitary District.
What does the sanitary district do?
So in simple terms, it manages the trash and sewer services for the city of Costa Mesa and a part of unincorporated county land, and then a little bit of Newport Beach area as well. So it manages the wastewater and then the trash and recycling services for the residents, single family homes and multifamily units up to, I believe it's 5 units, are all managed by the sanitary district.
And so why would you want to run for an office to be a part of the sanitary district? What makes you want to do that?
Sure. So for last 15 or so years, I've been very involved in Costa Mesa and Newport Beach as well through a variety of volunteer organizations. I used to be president of AYSO soccer, president of Newport Harbor Boys Booster Club for lacrosse. I currently am on the Costa Mesa United board as well. And I've also been chairman of the Parks and Recreation Commission for the city of Costa Mesa. So I've been involved in the city, and I love being involved because I feel like I've been making a difference over these past, say, 15 years. I see an opportunity at the Costa Mesa Sanitary District to bring some new ideas, a new face, some new perspectives. The sanitary district, the board of directors, from my understanding, combined, there's 5 of them, and this will be the first election that it is by division. So as I described to you, I'll be in Division 2. Between the 5 current sanitary district members, they have a combined experience of close to 100 years in that position. And while I appreciate, obviously, community involvement and local office holding and things like that, that's a long time, and they've done some great things over their careers there, but there's also, I think, some times for change. And so I want to bring in some change, also not sit on there for 30 plus years myself either.
And so you said new ideas. You think it's necessary. What type of ideas do you have, and what would be your platform when you're running for this?
So number one, I want to see term limits of the directors. As I just mentioned, I think being in a certain elected local position for that many years, you just get in the same habits. You get in this, it becomes way too comfortable. So I would like to bring in term limit ideas, explore that possibility. I'm a person who likes to put the cards on the table, see what works, what doesn't work, have collaboration with my fellow directors, have collaboration with other special districts, of course our city council, bring all the best and brightest and look at ideas. So term limits being one of them. Another thing, why aren't we opening up the trash contract? For those who aren't familiar, the trash contract hasn't been put out to bid since World War II. We have a great trash provider right now. They do a tremendous job. I have no issues there. But I'm in construction. I own a small construction business. Every day we are bidding on public works. We build a lot of wastewater treatment plants. we build a lot of schools, we build a lot of public buildings. We are forced to bid publicly on these contracts. So for me, I think competition's great. There are other providers out there, and they may be as good, better, or the same as our current provider. But if you don't put it out to bid, how do you know? And are we getting the best bang for our rate-paying buck, basically? And so I would like to see at least some more transparency in the public bid process, and look at ways of reducing operational expenses and returning money back to the ratepayers where feasible, while also being fiscally prudent and planning for future facility maintenance, upgrades. Sewage pipes don't last forever. There's going to need to be some healthy reserves, and by bringing a good, sound mind, someone who runs a business, looks at numbers all day, someone who's involved in bidding, that's what I would bring to the table. And whatever that shakes out, I just want to bring a fresh set of eyes on what's been going on.
So you said they haven't put the contract out for bid for, sounds like decades. Do you know why that is?
I don't. And I haven't heard anyone explain why this is smart for the ratepayer in the city of Costa Mesa. I don't know the answer. Speculation. The good part is they do a great job. Our current provider, I think, does a phenomenal job. But are we getting the best value? We have neighboring communities that I understand are paying less for their trash service than we are. Well, why is that? Why are we having the same company but different services from other communities? I don't know. No one, to my knowledge, has explained and given a firm answer. Again, going with a great service provider, I understand that, but it only makes them better if we bring competition to them. I'm not saying we're gonna just get rid of the service provider and go with a just pure low cost. We need the best value, the best service. So we open up competition. It's gonna make our ultimate service better at the most competitive rates. And the answer, I don't know why it hasn't been opened up in this long of a time. The other fact is the current contract that's signed says that both parties have to notify each other if this is going to go out for bid. It's 7 years. 7 years to notify that we're going to plan to open this up to bid. Why do we have that clause in our current contract? We should have these answers, and so part of the reason why I'm running is let's get the answers and tell the public. If there's an answer, great. I just want to know it. Let's explain why we haven't put it out to bid and why we have this clause in there that says we can't even do it for 7 years. If I'm elected, that means I have 4 years to at least push to get it put out to bid, but then have to wait an additional 3 years to actually have it out to bid under the current contract. I don't think that's the wisest form of business for our ratepayers.
Right, so it sounds like you just want to dive in and investigate, see if you can get a better rate for the people of the community.
Yeah, and I want to dive in and investigate. I have to learn. I am running for an office that, again, someone who's been there for a very long time and has done a good job. I need to get in there and uncover what we're dealing with, work with other directors, work with the staff, work with our current supplier, talk, bring other entities in. Love to work with our city council members. There's other special districts in and around Orange County. We've got to uncover the data, and if that means we've got to have some outside groups and entities come in and uncover some things, great, let's do it. And then let's communicate and have transparency to the community. I'm also realistic. Most people don't have a clue what their trash bill and their sewer bill is, because it appears on the property tax statement and it's an afterthought. But if we can bring better levels of service and either have the existing rates or even lower, I think no one could argue with that.
Right, and so talking about the rates, is it true that they're going up right now?
So I believe about a year ago, they did pass a 5-year rate increase, a gradual rate increase plan. The vote was a 4-to-1 vote, and the one director, I believe, commented that if we need to raise rates, why are we staggering it over 5 years when we don't know what 5 years brings? We're in the period of COVID right now. No one saw this coming a year ago. This is going to affect government agencies. It affects all of us personally. So why would you stagger in a rate increase over 5 years when you don't know what next year is going to be like? And why did we increase rates? Did we have to because we were having operational deficits? From what I understand, that was one of the main drivers. Well, the question is, why are we having operational deficits? Should we have more open transparency and public bidding process? Maybe that would help our operational expenses. So they raised rates over a period of a 5-year plan. Did they have to do it? I would like to go in there and find ways to reduce rates, not increase them. Let's reduce where possible, and if we got to keep it at the same level, great, but let's increase our services as well.
Do you know if there's any statewide regulations that are causing the need for the city to increase the services like recycling? I've heard of some state regulations that are crushing cities. They're requiring massive new organic recycling plants, which, as good as that might be, are we struggling with that in Costa Mesa? You said you wanted to bring fresh new ideas. There's a lot of fresh new things that need to happen.
Yep, absolutely.
Is that part of the need in Costa Mesa right now?
So I think you'd mentioned state regulations. State regulations in California, of course, are always going to, at times, handcuff local agencies. And not saying that recycling and all that, it's a good thing, but how we're implementing these sorts of policies. So my idea would be, let's work hand in hand with our current service provider. Okay, how can we make this easier on our residents to recycle properly, for our district to adhere and go above and beyond the service levels of what's required from the state of California? Let's work with our partnering agencies. Let's work with our suppliers. Let's make it easier for you and I to recycle, abide by the rules, do what's right for our community, do what's right for our environment, all that good stuff. And let's come up with good plans and better services to make it easier, because at the end of the day, you and I don't want to go out at 8 o'clock and start sorting through our trash. Let's make it easy, properly sized bins, very easy instructions where everyone can find it, know it, and live it.
Yeah, so one of the things you mentioned is working together with other agencies. So any of our viewers here that have followed the sanitary district or Costa Mesa's history are familiar with that TT, the Measure TT, and let's join forces with Mesa Water and let's collaborate.
Right.
And whatever happened with that and that idea that they should join forces?
So unfortunately, something that I think was brought forth turned into a major political power struggle. Part of why I'm running is not to say we should merge with another district. Part of myself wanting to run is to say, hey, can we sit down and talk about it? Let's look at it. Both agencies have had independent studies and all this stuff, but they're not sitting at the same table, and the staffs aren't sitting at the same table saying, what does make sense? My understanding is we're one of 2, maybe 3 cities in Orange County that have separate water and sanitary districts. There may be a great reason why that is. But again, I'm a person about talking, collaborating, and working with other agencies and not making a political tug of war. The ratepayers don't benefit from that, and quite frankly, no one wants to see it. So this Measure TT did in fact pass, which was just an advisory measure that passed in the last 2 years ago, and I believe it was roughly 54% was in favor of simply exploring the idea of a consolidation between the 2 districts. I too support the idea of it, but until we sit down and truly look at, is there economies of scale? Is this the right move? At the end of the day, is the ratepayer, our neighborhood, our community going to benefit from this, or is it going to hurt? We don't know, but I'm the type of person, like, I will sit down and meet with anyone. I'm not coming in with a preconceived notion of what should or shouldn't be, but those sorts of meetings should happen. The voting electorate said they wanted it to at least be explored, and it should be. They've had 2 years to do it. To my knowledge, nothing has really happened because, again, I think there's been some political strong wills. It's just become a tug of war unnecessarily. Let's work together, not against each other, for the common cause to benefit our community.
So the people that have been on there for collectively, what, 100 years,
Right.
they don't want to look at changes, and it sounds like you're willing to take a hard look at all the numbers, look at the future, look at what we need to do to meet the state regulations, but also protect the taxpayers and protect their pocketbooks, because we can't have costs keep going up. Right?
Absolutely. And you hit the nail on the head. I want to explore everything. Everything's on the table with me. At the end of the day, then I still got to work with my fellow directors to vote on good policy for the ratepayers. And that means compromise. That means investigating. That means looking at new and innovative ways. That means looking at the regulations and finding out how we can, manage those to properly plan. The other thing, we have to look at the future, as I mentioned earlier. Yes, our sewage pipes and facilities and things like this, things are going to age, things are going to need to be maintained, things are going to need to be replaced. That is an expensive proposition. So yes, we have to be very fiscally prudent as a special agency to protect the taxpayer money so that one day this sewer main out here doesn't explode over someone's house. We have to have proper service. And that goes back to budgeting priorities and things like this. Are there operational things that we can look at to reduce those expenses, to increase reserves while not increasing rates? All of it's on the table with me.
And so it's obviously an election, so you're running a race to be elected. You want the voters to vote for you. Why should they vote for you?
I think because, number one, you're going to have someone who is going to, my priority is for the ratepayer. It's for our community. I'm not looking for another job. I have a full-time position. I'm fortunate enough to have been able to volunteer my time over the past 15 years in our community. I look at this as another volunteer opportunity to come in and lend my knowledge, my experience, and again, bring some new at least a fresh face, fresh perspective. Running an organization, fresh ideas are always needed. You just get stale and you get in the same rut. In my own company, we do that. So we don't need that in our government. So you're going to have someone who you can trust is going to always be exploring, investigating, and collaborating for the best thing for you and your family in our community. My experience, I do have it in the Parks and Rec Commission that I served as vice chair and chairman. I've been on these government boards. I understand government bureaucracy. I understand working with fellow commissioners and directors and things like that. I've worked with everyone, and I don't come in with a firm opinion on something until I explore it, investigate it, hear from everyone. So you're going to get someone who's going to do the best for you, not for any selfish reasons on my own behalf. I want to do this for the next 4 years to try and bring the best possible service to our community at the best possible price.